Hedge tube dwellers. Welcome back to another series, a continued series, from the Chinese CPL Championship. Taking place in the beginning of August, this championship is merely a couple weeks old. We are now in Game 2 on Whirlwind LE between the XMG French Protoss player ToD, spawning in the top left-hand corner, and his opponent, the Swedish Fnatic Protoss player, SaSe. Incoming spoilers about game number 1. Game number 1, SaSe opened with a Stargate. Didn't get a whole lot of damage out of it, but affected ToD's build. ToD decided to respond with a Stargate, actually with double Stargates, and try to catch up to SaSe, but SaSe put a push together that came in right before ToD could really capitalize on his double Stargate production. The Void Ray count was in SaSe's favor, and I guess even more notable than just that little back and forth on the Stargate production, SaSe was able to get a slightly higher probe count, get a little bit of an economic lead on ToD, leading into that production. And SaSe's production outside of just the Stargate was also greater. His army as a whole was greater. And it was pretty straightforward. Push in and beat down. ToD lost the Nexus and lost the game. Boy, that PvP, it can be ruthless. That all happened on Akalon Wastes, though. And while that map is fairly spread out, it has nothing on the ridiculous breadth of Whirlwind LE. As of Heart of the Swarm, some Protoss vs. Protoss games have started going long. The Mothership Core adds a lot of defensive capabilities that discourages early aggression, and that's allowed Protoss players to take it to 2, 3, 4 bases times infinity. So far in this match, the openers are pretty standard. SaSe enjoys a little bit of a cyber core lead on ToD. I'm not exactly sure the reasoning. Both have 2 gas, though. It looks like ToD is actually saturating both of his gas a little bit faster than is SaSe. Also getting a second gateway, similar to game number 1, whereas SaSe is not different from game number 1. Interested to see now that he's at 16. Okay, he just now jumped back down to 15 workers on the minerals. 16 is roughly your perfect saturation. That's 2 workers on each mineral patch. They perfectly go back and forth in tandem. It looks like he is now that he's up at that point, gonna go ahead and saturate the gas. So now they're both running on full gas. And SaSe will be the first to scout. ToD will establish vision over his main. A good plan in PvP. It's very easy for a probe to sneak in out of your vision and stay tucked away until Warp Gate research finishes. And then very common, at least in Wings of Liberty, for an in-base proxy pylon to just wreck your day. One of the most annoying things to deal with. You literally counter it by moving a probe around the inside of your base and looking for their probe. Never mind all that fanciful talk of denying cheese, though. SaSe into a Twilight Council off 1 gate with 2 gas. This can only mean Dark Templar. This surely means Dark Templar, Dark Templar. The Dark Shrine's up. Zealot and a Stalker getting chased down by 2 Stalkers and a Mothership Core. The 2 Stalkers will win this fight. Matter of fact, should be able to kill everything here without losing anything, funny enough. Unless certain parts get away. The Mothership Core will escape. The Stalker could escape if he wants, but he's got a buddy. They're using the buddy system now. Confidence restored. Oh man, that time slow though. It's going to allow ToD to pick one of those Stalkers off. The other one will escape. Small victories, but nice victories for ToD here in the early game. You can see the units lost. None for ToD, all for SaSe. Not all. All would indicate that SaSe has lost all of his units, and that is not the case. That would be incredibly detrimental to the longevity of this game. Robotics facility coming out. Next for ToD, very similar to game number 1. And a much faster Nexus coming out. They both got the Nexus down, but SaSe's got that Nexus in quite a bit earlier. The Dark Shrine right before finishing, scouted by ToD. I didn't see him click on it, but I'm sure he did. Behind that Dark Shrine, a 2-gate and a robotics facility. And, oh, it gets worse. SaSe's proxy pylon has been spotted out by ToD. Seems all the luck is in ToD's court. And I say luck as if scouting that allows you this kind of vision over the area outside of your base. He's been to all these places right outside of his base. Is luck-based. It's not. It's not luck-based. It's a good play. Good play from ToD. Good scouting. There is a Dark Templar. Okay. There are 2 Dark Templar out. And they're going to pick off the pylon. SaSe, having seen the hallucination go through his base, he is almost certainly aware of the fact that ToD is hip to it and should expect that the Dark Templar play is at least not going to be smashingly successful. So far, though, he's warped in a couple DTs and hasn't lost anything for it. He hasn't really done any damage. They killed a pylon that probably could have been killed without going all the way out to DT tech, and he's going to lose a pylon for it. So far, this is kind of a wash. Now, it's possible, though, that SaSe can still turn this tech into something. A matter of fact, one of the potential avenues of turning an already beaten Dark Templar timing into damage anyway would be via a Warp Prism, and he's using that right away. Interesting pylon placement. That is way out there. That's not even a proxy. It's not even close. It's like anti-proxy. It's equally distant from both bases. Actually, I think further away from his own main. ToD, now setting up some proxies of his own, continues to scout with the hallucinations. I love it. Getting a Forge again like in game number 1, except this time he's going to use the Forge. He's getting a damage upgrade. No Stargate. No Stargate from either player. SaSe, he's got his chance now. The Dark Templar are coming into the middle line. Our worker count was 42 to 44 when this began. 2 workers have already died. Photon Cannon going up in a tucked away spot. It is going to be canceled. The Dark Templar are actually going to morph into an Archon upon being seen by the Observer. The Archon's going to get taken out before they can finish, though. There's just enough damage here. Even if it did come back, it would be a cold day in hell if that Archon killed anything with all this army sitting around. SaSe did get a really good scout of the base, though. He saw a good count of gateway numbers there. And if we take his vision, even saw the robotics facility. And SaSe has a follow-up planned. He's going to keep ToD locked away in his base and thinking defensively, while both taking a 3rd base, which is very quick, even for PvP, and getting out Colossi tech. He's got the robotics support bay, and he's getting thermal lances, but this might not be fast enough. We switch back over to the production tab. Let me just double check here. There are no Colossi on the way, and the first one isn't finished. So he's invested money. The robotics support base 200-200. The thermal lance research is 200-200. He's put a lot of money. Oh my, there's a warp prism. There is a photon overcharge to counter it. This has 2 immortals in it though, and he's going to use zealot warp ins while also pressuring at the front. I don't think SaSe has enough energy for 2 photon overcharges. Yes, he does. There's the second one. He's also got photon cannons at the front, but for the most part, he's losing that fight. He's also losing the fight in the main. The main Nexus gets taken out by focus fire from the Immortals, and there's too many Zealot Warp-Ins here. The gateway count is just larger for ToD. He's just got too many. The main is totally compromised. SaSe GG's. The pressure's too much. Split pressure at the right time in the right places. Beaten on both fronts. SaSe invested a lot of money into a high-risk, high-reward tech, and investing all that money and coming out with only 2 probe kills, it wasn't sufficient. And that is the razor's edge of a mirror match. That little bit of an investment wasted is all it took for ToD to have a nice window to push right in here and make it look one-sided. Smashing victory for ToD. So the result of game number 2 is going to push us to a 3rd. Hope you guys are enjoying this PvP content. Oh, nice. Wow. Is this? Okay, that's a Zealot warping in. So SaSe trying to do what he could in the midst of all the chaos. Bringing a Dark Templar back over. Very well placed photon cannon though, and another one pretty decently placed would have kept that from doing too much damage. There you have it. I'll stop babbling. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for game number 3. Should be right around the corner. Bye-bye.